What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mic Check Podcast. This is T Word, the People's Champ. Thanks for tapping in. Today, we're going to be talking about Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. for the undisputed welterweight crown coming up on July 29th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate your feedback. All right, so let's get right into it. Terence Crawford and Errol Spence have already booked a fight. We've been doing some videos on this over the last couple of weeks, and now we're at the point where we're trying to get into the analysis aspect of it. We've talked about the lead up to the fight, who did what the negotiations look like, and what the pay-per-view sales might be. Now that aside, there's going to be a strategic match that takes place within the confines of the ring, and we've already discussed Errol Spence's potential of negating the athleticism of Terence Crawford. Now we're going to talk about Terence Crawford nullifying Errol Spence's main component of his offense, his active jab. Now, from a technical standpoint, Errol Spence is one of the best in the business at using his jab to set up his offense, where he uses it to close distance, pin the opponent's guard, and then attack the body. For Terence Crawford to be successful at infighting, and that's fighting within range, fighting within his reach, he's going to need to take away the jab. Part of what he can do is jab with the jabber, something that Coach Ronnie Shields likes to use in his gym. The biggest thing about that is that's all about timing, something that's a really true strong suit for Bud Crawford. He's really good at figuring out your timing. The biggest concern would be, will he be able to figure out the timing before Errol Spence does damage? This isn't a situation where he can wait until the third or fourth round and figure out exactly what's going on and then switch into southpaw stance and make something happen. He's going to need to get on his horse and make this happen right away. We're talking first round, no later than the second. The good news for him is that Errol Spence does often throw everything at the same speed and intensity. He rarely throws off-speed punches, and that's something that could be detrimental to his health when you're in the fight with Bud Crawford. What I imagine Terence Crawford doing initially to figure out the jab is coming out in the orthodox stance and trying to catch the speed, figure out the angle, and that's going to give him an idea of what he can do when he switches stances in the next round. What you'll see most often is once Bud comes out in a particular stance for a round, he stays there because it just makes more sense. Guys that switch back and forth, I tend to believe is ineffective and very inefficient. And for Terence Crawford, I think he does it the right way. Now, I do also believe that his strong side is going to be southpaw. I believe that's truly how he fights. But the way that he switches is just logical, and you can tell that that's savvy veteranship. That's something that you learn over time instead of switching back and forth doing rounds. When you look at somebody like Jaron Ennis, I think sometimes Kid Austin does it. It's just not smart to do that, especially at an elite and a high level. When you're facing quality competition, they're going to take advantage of that kind of shit. Well, anyway, if you look at this fight from the perspective of Errol Spence's jab is the key to his most strong key to victory. So Terence Crawford is going to use his athleticism and his ring savvy to eliminate that completely by, again, throwing over top of the jab and also punching as Errol Spence punches. This is going to be from orthodox stance. From southpaw stance, he's actually going to start to use more pivots and try to step around Spence and turn him and get him to demonstrate that he has the slower feet. While they both can get into the pivot and move around, Bud is just going to be more athletic, so he's going to get to the spot first, allowing him to get off shots or actually time better shots and then come with something that Errol Spence doesn't see. There's a very specific punch that when Spence is jabbing and he's closing distance, he sometimes turns his head to the left, and he's very susceptible to an uppercut. That's something else that's going to slow the jab down. If every time he comes in with the double jab and then throw the hook to the body, the left hand hook to the body, that's where Terence Crawford can be throwing an uppercut. Yordenis Ugas hit him with it and knocked out his mouthpiece. Danny Garcia hit him with it and also knocked out his mouthpiece. So that's a specific vulnerability that Bud Crawford can exploit that's going to start to take that jab away. Think about it this way. If you commit one act repeatedly and you get the same repercussion, it always goes wrong for you, you're going to abandon that strategy. Imagine a world where Errol Spence abandons his jab, or it becomes a smaller component of his offense and he has to try and close ground and initiate offense in a different way. that completely changes the dynamics of the fight. And if you see that happen, it's going to be a long night for him, because now it's going to take that much more for Derrick James to put together a strategy on the fly that's going to give him something that he can respond to Bud with. I think that Terence Crawford is very aware of these things, and you may see him try to deploy this tactic very early. He's going to jab with him and then also follow his single jab after Errol Spence brings the double jab. He's going to follow it with an uppercut with his backhand, and this is from the orthodox stance. If that's effective, he may stay unorthodox a little bit longer. If he finds that it's got marginal or minimal success, he'll just kind of come back to it. But maybe he's going to bring a cross when the jab comes and then bring a hook with the lead hand. That's something that I think would be a really good way for him to get Errol Spence out of his game plan and make it very easy for Terence Crawford to pull off a victory by decision. So I'd love to get you guys' thoughts. This has been T for the Mic Check Podcast. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.